I think I credit my whole graduate school decision-making process, the application process, and even the way I do research in grad school to my experience as a research fellow in MSR India. Of course, the first thing was that I wasn't even sure whether I wanted to go to grad school, but after going through the research fellow program and with my amazing mentors and collaborators at MSR India, I took the decision to apply to grad school.
Welcome to the Microsoft Research India podcast, where we explore cutting-edge research that's impacting technology and society. I'm your host, Sridhar Vedantam. One of Microsoft Research India's goals is to help strengthen the research ecosystem and encourage young students to look at research as a career. But it's not always easy for students to understand what research is all about and how to figure out if research is the right career for them. The Research Fellow program at MSR India enables bright young students to work on real-world research problems with top-notch researchers across the research lifecycle, including ideation, implementation, evaluation, and deployment. Many of the students who have been part of the program have gone on to become researchers, engineers, and entrepreneurs. Today, we speak to Shruti Richwani, a graduate of MSR India's Research Fellow program who is currently doing her PhD at the Carnegie Mellon University. And joining us is Dr. Vivek Seshadri, a researcher at MSR India who also heads a Research Fellow program at the lab. Okay, so I'm looking forward to this podcast because it's going to be a little different from what we've done in the past, in the sense that this is not a podcast about research projects or technologies, but it's something much more human, and we're going to be talking about the Research Fellow program that we have at MSR India. And I'd like to welcome a special guest, Shruti, who used to be a research fellow at the lab, and also Vivek Seshadri, who is a researcher at the lab and whom we've had on the podcast earlier in a different capacity, but today he's wearing the hat of the Tsar or the director of the Research Fellow program here. So welcome, Shruti and Vivek.
Good evening, Sridhar, and very good morning, Shruti.
Hi, Sridhar and Vivek. It's great to be here and great to be back to interacting with people from MSR India. It's been about 4 years since I left the RF program, so I'm really looking forward to talking about it and remembering some of my experiences.
Excellent. So let's lay a little bit of a groundwork before we jump into the whole thing. Vivek, can you give us a bit of an overview of what the Research Fellow program is?
Sridhar, the Research Fellow program has been around ever since the organization Microsoft Research India started itself. I think initially it was called the Assistant Researcher Program, and then it was called the Research Assistant Program, and right now we are calling it the Research Fellow Program. But the core of the program has been to enable recent undergraduate and master students to spend 1 or 2 years at MSR India and get a taste for what research in computer science looks like, especially in an industrial setting.
So has the program evolved over time, or has there been any substantive changes, or it's still the same at its core and its essence?
I think the only thing that has changed significantly is the number of research fellows that we have had. I think when the program started, in its first year, I think we had 3 assistant researchers. And today, as we speak, we have over 50 research fellows in the lab, working on various projects. So in that sense, the program has definitely grown in size along with the lab. But I think the core goal of the program has not changed at all. It is still to give research fellows a taste of what research looks like in computer science and enable them to build their profile and prepare them for a career in computer science research and engineering.
Right. So one thing that I've seen personally is that the research fellows add a huge amount of energy and life to the lab. And on that note, Shruti, what motivated you to come into MSR India to join the Research Fellow program?
That's a great question, and something that I think my experience is probably what a lot of research fellows who apply and join the program actually go through before deciding to join the program. So I did an undergrad degree in computer science from BITS Pilani, and during those 4 years, I took classes on machine learning, information retrieval, and so on, and also did 2 internships where I got a taste of like how machine learning applications can be applied to products in the real world. But both of those internships were kind of focused on the engineering side. And I was really interested in what a career in doing machine learning research or using machine learning for research-based applications would look like. And I knew that if I wanted to pursue a career in this field, I would probably have to go to graduate school to get a master's and a PhD. But I wasn't entirely sure whether this is what I wanted to do. So it was kind of like an exploratory phase for me to be in the research fellow program. I wanted to get some research experience. I wanted to see what established researchers in computer science do on a daily basis, and what the research process kind of is like when you're working in machine learning and more specifically natural language processing, which is what I was interested in.
Right. So, Vivek, what I'm getting from Shruti is that the Research Fellow program is something that she was looking at to form a base or a basis for a longer career in research itself. So, do you have any specific insights or inputs into about what the program actually offers in a structured manner to the research fellows that we have?
Yeah, so Microsoft Research, at its core, is a research organization. All researchers at MSR do research in computer science, and they're working on a variety of projects spanning all areas of computer science, from theory, artificial intelligence, machine learning, systems, security. And MSR India also is known for its technology for emerging markets group, where we look at problems specifically affecting developing countries like India. So essentially, research fellows, join one of these projects and work with world-class researchers on multiple phases of research, including ideation, building solutions, prototyping those solutions, deploying them in the field, working with large real industrial data sets to test out their solutions. So that experience essentially gives the perfect taste of what modern computer science research looks like for research fellows. And just like Shruti, most of our research fellows, after their stint at MSR India, apply for grad school and go to one of the top grad schools across the world. But there are others who decide, research is not for them. Many of them join Microsoft and continue to work at Microsoft in some other role. And a few of them actually, have taken the entrepreneurial route. We have had CEOs of many big companies, including Ola, and some of our own projects, which have been converted to startups like Digital Green and Everwell. So, some of them take that route as well. But primarily, it's that experience of what computer science research looks like today. I think that's the essence of what the Research Fellow program offers students.
Great. And in terms of numbers, how many research fellows do you think would have graduated so far from MSR India over the years?
Like I said, in the initial years, it was a handful of research fellows that we have had. So overall, if you look at the numbers, it's around 150 research fellows in a period of 15 years. But if you look at our run rate in the most recent years, we have been graduating close to 30 research fellows every year, and that number is just increasing.
Great. So this is another contribution of MSR to the research field, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, these guys hit the ground running, if they do choose to do a PhD, they hit the ground running. They know how research works. They know the different phases of, research projects, how to go about tackling these problems. So in that sense, I'm, assuming all the advisors of past research fellows are extremely happy advisors. Little less work for them in actually guiding their students.
Okay, I think we'll need to speak to some of the advisors privately to validate that.
Yes.
So Vivek, another question for you. MSR India has also got this very large internship program. What's the fundamental difference between an internship at MSR and a research fellow position?
MSR used to have a very vibrant 3-month internship, summer internship program. And I think over the years, what we have realized is that for any stint at MSR to benefit both the student and the research projects at MSR, you need that reasonable amount of time. So if you see even the internship program, we have almost faded out 3-month internships. We only offer 6-month internships these days. So in that sense, the main difference between the traditional internship program and the research fellow program is the duration. When a research fellow comes in, we know that they are going to spend at least 1 year with us. In most cases, they are going to spend 2 years with us, which means the researcher with confidence can set a really big goal for the research fellow and really have that long shot instead of a short internship where to have any meaningful output you cannot have a really large vision or a large goal. So in that sense, if you actually see the contributions that research fellows have made to some of our projects, they are extremely substantial, solving some fundamental problems in computer science, impacting projects in major ways within Microsoft, and also having impact on society. These contributions would not be possible in a 6-month internship program.
Shruti, when you were doing your research fellowship at MSR India, what is the kind of work you were doing, and who were your mentors out here?
Right. So as I said, I was really interested in machine learning applications, more specifically as applied to natural language processing problems. So when I was a research fellow at MSR India, I was mentored by Monojit Chaudhary and also worked closely with Kalika Bali on natural language processing problems. We were focusing on the problem of code switching, which is basically when multilingual people mix languages when they're speaking. We were basically trying to create natural language processing tools to automatically understand such code mixed language.
And how do you think that helped you? I mean, you're at CMU now, which is one of the top tier PhD schools in the world. But how do you think the time that you spent here in MSR India actually helped you get to where you were?
I think I credit my whole graduate school decision-making process, the application process, and even the way I do research in grad school to my experience as a research fellow in MSR India. Of course, the first thing was that I wasn't even sure whether I wanted to go to grad school, but after going through the research fellow program and with my amazing mentors and collaborators at MSR India, I took the decision to apply to grad school. And as I said, I was working on problems in multilingual natural language processing. And although I focused on code switching in MSR India, it kind of made me very interested in continuing in this field of just trying to be able to automatically process many, many languages at the same time. And through my master's and now my PhD, all of my research has been focused on doing multilingual NLP. So in a way, my experience at MSR sort of shaped my view of NLP research and taught me important research and technical skills, going all the way from like doing a literature survey to collecting data to doing experiments and finally writing publications. I went through that process for the first time at MSR India, and that's like really helped me go through graduate school as well.
Great. So it sounds like you really worked hard while you were at MSR. Did you actually have some time to do something other than work, to kind of go out, have fun, and enjoy yourself?
Yeah, I try to keep a great work-life balance at MSR India, and in fact, I think MSR and the research fellow program in general quite encourages that. We had a strong community of research fellows. We were all really good friends. And it kind of makes sense because all of us were in the same exploratory phase, doing research for the first time for most of us. So there's a lot we had in common, and all of us were good friends, enjoyed ourselves outside of work as well. I really enjoyed my time at MSR.
I believe MSR India's also got this fantastic annual offsite, which is a great deal of fun.
Definitely. I was a research fellow for 1 year, and the offsite that year was a really good fun. It's good to interact with people outside of work as well and learn about the people you collaborate with as people, not just colleagues. So I really enjoyed the MSR offsite. And as research fellows, we also would often have our own outings. Like we would go out in the city and explore the city and so on. So it was really fun. I really appreciated the community of research fellows that we had.
Super. Vivek, a question for you. What does the research fellow selection process look like? How do you actually go about it? And is there any particular way in which you look at matching candidates to mentors?
Oh, absolutely. I think in many ways, the research fellow selection process, is similar to how grad school applications work. How universities select PhD students, and there are multiple projects going on inside MSR India in different areas. Applicants have specific interests. These days, even in the 4 years of undergrad that they go through, people develop interests in various areas. So they come in with their own interests. So our goal is to essentially identify the best candidates for each project. And like I mentioned, it's not only the case that the number of research fellow slots have increased over the years from 3 in the first year to something close to 40 to 50 right now. It's also that the number of applicants have increased significantly. We receive close to 1,000 applications, and in some sense, it's a long review process where we ensure that each applicant at least gets one pair of eyes looking at the application and then determining whether there are projects within MSR India that suit that candidate. We come up with extensive rankings, and finally, researchers go through that pool of applicants that we have ranked and figure out who the best candidate for their project is.
So, Shruti, if I were to ask you what the main takeaways for you were from the Research Fellow program, what would you say?
Well, there are a whole bunch. I really gained so much from this program. As I already said, it shaped my view of research and really gave me a good footing to start my journey through graduate school with my master's and now my PhD. I would really recommend this program to anyone who is looking to get a little bit of experience in computer science research. And if anyone wants to kind of explore this as a career option, I think this is a really good first step, particularly because there are researchers in MSR India working on such broad fields in computer science, and just attending talks and having conversations about their research can really expand your view on computer science research and give you a really strong place to set your own career off in whatever field you're interested in. So I think that's my main takeaway. I really enjoy the community feeling in MSR India among the RFs as well as with the senior researchers in the lab. And just the fact that it helped me so much in graduate school, I definitely recommend the program to anyone who has an inkling of interest in computer science research.
That's fantastic. And I know for a fact that the people who are involved with the Research Fellow program and in general, people at the lab really feel proud when, people like you go through the program and then join some of the top organizations in the world. So Vivek, how do students apply for an RF position? And what's the kind of exposure that they can look at? I mean, I know we've been speaking to Shruti, who, kind of was focusing on one particular area, but in a more general sense, can you talk a bit about what students can expect when they come for a research fellow position here?
Sridhar, if you look at computer science as a field, in the past few years, it has become increasingly interdisciplinary. And Microsoft Research India, being a flat organization, enables researchers who are experts in different areas to sort of collaborate with each other and solve big problems that require such collaboration. In fact, in the past few years, if you have noticed, we have had major impact in multiple problems where researchers from machine learning, systems, compilers, and HCI have come together and offered big solutions to important problems. So, in that sense, given where computer science is today and where it is going, I think MSR India is sort of an ideal place for new budding researchers to come and gain experience in what that interdisciplinary research looks like. In fact, as an RF, I mean, just like Shruti mentioned, even though they are working on a specific problem in a specific area, they will often not only have the opportunity to listen to people working in other areas through talks and lectures and whatnot, they may also have to actively collaborate with other research fellows, working in these other areas. So that experience of interdisciplinary research is sort of essential for any budding scientist in computer science. So I think that's one of the main reasons why I feel MSR India is a great place for students to come and test what research in computer science looks like today.
And what's the process for somebody applying for the RF position?
Yeah, like I mentioned, the application process is very similar to a grad school application. We do require students to upload their resume and a statement of purpose. There's a portal. People can just search for the research fellow program at MSR in the internet. It will lead them directly to our page from where they can apply. There's a single deadline this time on January 15th, which is right after grad school applications. So if students are applying to grad school, they already have all the material to apply for the research fellow program.
Great. So what I'll do is add links to the research fellow program. We'll attach it to the podcast so that the listeners can actually go and check it out and see what the research fellow program offers. And Shruti and Vivek, thank you so much for your time. I know that we're doing this in multiple time zones, so thank you so much for being accommodative. And it's been a great conversation.
Likewise, Sridhar. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, I had a great time.
Thank you. Stay safe, everybody.